Bismillah. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Bismillah wa salatu wa salam ala rasulillah. Rabbi shrah li sadri wa yassir li amri wa hlul uqdatan min lisani yafqahu qawli. Today I just wanted to give a short reminder about something which is not talked about as much as it used to be. And that's actually a scary part. One of the scary parts is that it's not talked about as much as it used to be during the khutbahs. And it's a thing that the Prophet ﷺ has said that every single prophet that came before him, all of the 124,000 prophets that were there, they warned his people about. They talked to his people about. It is something that most Sahaba used to make dua that they used to die before that it actually happens. And what I'm talking about is the idea of Masih ad-Dajjal. It is the false Messiah. It is someone who's going to come towards the end of time. And according to most narrations, it is the first or one of the first major signs of Yawm al-Qiyamah, about the Day of Judgment. Now, it is important for us to understand who is Masih ad-Dajjal, what are the powers that Allah has given him, and what he's going to do in order for us to identify who he is when he actually comes out. Because the Prophet Muhammad ﷺ has said that he is going to be one of the greatest trials for humans that ever occurred. And it's important for us to understand who he is so that we can prepare ourselves, if we are alive at that time, or prepare our children if they are alive at that time, or their grandchildren, because we do not know when it is actually going to occur. Now, based on a lot of different signs, many scholars have, as always, said that the time is very close. And we know that Yawm al-Qiyamah is very close, right? From many of the hadith and all of the minor signs that have already occurred. However, I'm not saying that it's going to happen tomorrow. There's also a lot of other signs that need to occur before Masih ad-Dajjal is going to come out. Also, it's important for us to study it because there's a lot of misconceptions when it comes to Masih ad-Dajjal. There's a lot of things that people say which is completely untrue. So I just wanted to go over some of the important identifications of Masih ad-Dajjal, and if time permits, later on, next week onwards, we can talk about a little bit more details about the other ahadith that refer to the false Messiah, Masih ad-Dajjal, and what he's going to do and how he's going to die and everything. So according to hadith of Anas, the Prophet ﷺ had said, "No prophet was sent, but he warned his people about the one-eyed liar. He is one-eyed, but your Lord is not one-eyed. And between his eyes will be written kafir." Or in another narration, kafara. And this will be read by every believer, literate or illiterate. So the first thing to note about this hadith is that Dajjal will be one-eyed. Now, when you tell this to kids, they always think of a one-eyed cyclops, right? That's not what the Dajjal is. It is not one of those monsters that you see in these cartoons and stuff that has one eye in the middle of his face. Dajjal is a human being. He is a man. And according to some of the hadith, he is going to be a short man who is well built and stuff like that. But he is a man. He is a human being. He has regular face. But one of his eyes, he is blind. Which is why it says he is one-eyed, right? Only one of his eyes is functional. And it will be, the one that is not functional will be bulging out like a dried up grape, according to some of the hadith. And then after that, it says, the Prophet ﷺ said that he is one-eyed, but your Lord is not one-eyed. Because this is telling us that eventually he will claim to be Allah. He will claim to be the Lord. And he is known as the master trickster. He's going to be tricking everyone, he's going to be lying, he's going to be deceiving every single person. One of the hadith says that he will have with him on his sides what looks like Jannah and what looks like Jahannam. What looks like a river of water and what looks like fire. And he will go around asking people to worship him, telling people to worship him. And if you do not follow what he says, he will throw you into what looks like a fire. But in reality, that will not be the fire, it will be the opposite. And the one that is the opposite, the one that is looks like water and calm and Jannah, that one will actually be the fire. So everything about the Dajjal is about deceiving, about lying, about tricking people to believe a reality which is not true. So the reason I mention these things is not to scare anyone, right? The thing is, in every single salah, at the end of every single salah, we are told to ask Allah to protect us from the fitna of Masih al-Dajjal, because we know he will be one of the greatest fitnas for all of humankind. So we make dua that Allah protects us from it and allows us to understand who he is, and if we are alive at that time, which, I make dua that we're not alive at that time because we don't know what's going to happen, that we're able to recognize the Masih al-Dajjal. Now, as I said, if time permits, we'll get into more details of the Masih al-Dajjal and of some of the stories, because if we start talking about that, people have written books. You can go over a whole series. We can go months and months talking about that. So I just wanted to give you guys a few of the signs. Oh, I forgot the last thing. The other sign that was mentioned in this hadith is that he will have kafir written on his forehead. Or in another narration, it said kafara, right? The three letters. And every person who is a believer, and may Allah make us all amongst the believers, will be able to see that written on his forehead and will be able to identify him. And that is important for us. So may Allah protect us from the fitna of Masih al-Dajjal and give us the ability to refrain from any of the deception that he will have, and protect us and our offsprings from all of these fitnas. Jazakumullah khair. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.